Welcome to the 35th anniversary of FCC Nationals. Wow, what an historic year and what a journey this has been. So glad you're here with us today. It all started in Lynchburg, Virginia. I was a college football coach at Liberty University when I started at the time Score International, later changed to the Fellowship of Christian Cheerleaders. But what a lot of great memories there. The first 3 years at Liberty University, no mats on the floor. Our host hotel was the Holiday Inn in Lynchburg. Come a long way since then. 1992, we made the move to Orlando, Florida, which was one of the best moves we could have ever made, just to give people a chance to have a family memory, whether it be at our event or one of the theme parks with their family, but just a fun time. Our move was to the University of Central Florida. And some funny things happened while we were there. We used to be in their old gym before they even had the UCF arena. And one of the morning, we got there on Saturday morning after running the Friday prelims, and their baseball team had a morning practice that morning and destroyed our backdrop. I about blew a gasket. But that's a memory that I will never forget. We were, believe it or not, staying at a Rosen property. It was called the Omni Rosen back then. It was across the street. It's called the Rosen Center now. And in one of those early years, one of our cheerleaders hung their uniform up on a sprinkler head in their room. If you see the do not hang signs in the room, regardless of where you stay, it's because of the Fellowship of Christian Cheerleaders. We flooded the entire 19th floor. Millions of dollars worth of damage, and I learned the importance of having event insurance, which we did have at that time. And they still allowed us back, so some fun memories.
Hi, I'm Amanda Beery, and I began my FCC journey in the 8th grade at Lynchburg Christian Academy, now known as Liberty Christian Academy. I cheered there all the way through high school and then continued to Liberty University. When I was there, I would say that FCC made the biggest impact on my life. Not only because of my love for cheerleading, but it just emphasized how we could use the sport of cheerleading to glorify the Lord. From there, I became a coach after staffing for FCC. Staff changed my life completely. I learned how to not only coach, but how to minister through the sport of cheerleading. It was my passion. After that, coached for Norfolk Christian for 11 years, brought my kids here every year, and now we're on year 7 with Wave Cheer, which is a program out of our church in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So I've gone from the school side to the impact side, and I can say that without FCC, my life would not be where it is today. My life has been forever changed due to the legacy of FCC.
After being at UCF for several years, we moved the event to the Hard Rock here at Universal Studios in the year 2000, Y2K. One of the interesting things that happened that year is we warmed up the teams at Studio 27 on the property of Universal Studios, and Universal provided busing from the warm-up to the main stage. Sound and lighting was incredible. It was a great memory for us in the year 2000.
Hi, my name is Lori Blair, and I'm the head coach with Christian Heritage Academy, and we've been attending FCC Nationals for over 30 years. My very first FCC Nationals to attend as an athlete was in 1994, and it was at UCF, and no, there was no grand stage with lights, and there were no mats. Just a gym floor. Wow, how far has it come, right? My love for FCC began that year, and I knew at that moment I wanted to support FCC and be a part of FCC. I joined the FCC staff after graduation, where I worked for Carrie for 4 summers. In 1998, Deanie Merrill asked me to be the assistant coach at Christian Heritage Academy. In 2013, I became head coach and was named Coach of the Year in 2022. From athlete to staff to coach, I have had the privilege to experience FCC from all perspectives. I love that the sport of cheerleading is FCC's focus, but not their main priority. FCC's mission is to spread the gospel through cheerleading, and this is why I will continue to attend and support the Fellowship of Christian Cheerleaders.
Following our stint at Hard Rock, we moved to the Bob Carr Auditorium downtown Orlando, where we experienced a record cold. It's mid-20s, the coldest nationals in the history of the 35 years of nationals. And the hotel was across the street. I think it was a full-service Marriott across the street from Bob Carr. So that was our stint at Bob Carr. Record cold temperatures and dealing with union labor right in the middle of the show. I was told that we had to have a 1-hour lunch break for the stage hands to draw the curtains in between each performance, or I had to cater food in for them to eat. So right in the middle of the show, I had to find a caterer, cater them lunch so that the show could continue. So very interesting move. Needless to say, we were there for 1 year, and we moved from there to the Orange County Convention Center. One of the great memories over these 35 years was the birth of Impact Cheerleading in 2004. Just 3 short years later, Hebron Baptist Church from Decula, Georgia became our first ever Impact team to compete at FCC Nationals. Impact is a terrific outreach for churches and schools and organizations to reach future leaders in their community.
My name is Ashlyn Hanks. I'm with Acadiana Christian Athletics, and I started with FCC when I was a freshman in high school. Never cheered before in my life, and FCC was my very first impression of cheerleading, and it couldn't have been anything more amazing than that experience. FCC just showed me that there are girls and other college-aged people that are walking with the Lord and staying firm in that. And it really did inspire me to just keep going to the end. And when I graduated from high school, after coming to nationals and winning first place in our division, I came back as a coach, and I used that same inspiration that I found whenever I was a camper, looking up to these college-age athletes. I used that same inspiration with my team, and just seeing them here back at nationals, back with FCC, and just living through them, it's just been amazing. I love FCC so much, and FCC truly does change lives, and I'm so happy to be a part of that.
In 2003, we moved to the famous Orange County Convention Center here in Orlando, just literally right down the street from us. And man, we thought we had arrived. You pull into town and all the road signs and the lights are pointing to FCC Nationals towards the Orange County Convention Center. Just a positive experience. The theater was amazing. One of the funny stories during that 3-year time period was one of our featured singers was Natalie Grant, which she's a very famous entertainer, Christian singer. And she was on stage singing, and all of a sudden in the audience, I heard a bunch of commotion. And then I heard a little girl in the audience say, "I don't want to go to the bathroom." And everybody started laughing in the theater, and Natalie's like, "Oh, the poor little girl needs to go to the bathroom." Well, she didn't need to go to the bathroom. She didn't want to, because that little girl was my daughter, who's now 21, and she knew her mama was fixing to beat her booty. And I was in the green room and heard all this commotion, and it was one of the funniest things that have happened over these 35 years. 2007 finally happened. After a meeting with Travers here at the Rosen Shingle Creek in the sales office, looking at furniture, fabric, and everything else, which meant nothing to me, I just could envision what he presented to us. We were allowed to move our nationals in 2007 to the Rosen Shingle Creek, and what an incredible year that first year here was, and the excitement it brought. One of the funny stories, though, the year before, we had been staying at the DoubleTree over by Universal, and Travers had arranged bus transportation for our coaches meeting in 2006, so our coaches could see. They weren't ready to open yet, but what they were going to get to experience the following year. So all of the coaches hopped on a bus, and during the welcome party, all of the coaches were bused over here to the Rosen Shingle Creek, and we had a coaches meeting here, even though the hotel was not even open yet. The golf shop was open, and in the golf restaurant, they cleared out all the tables and just made it theater style. And we had our coaches meeting, and that got everybody excited about going. We get on the buses to go back to the DoubleTree, and the very last bus I was on, the bus caught on fire, and we were stranded on the side of the road here on Universal Boulevard for over an hour, while my welcome party was continuing on until all the coaches got back. The singing group, I think, sang every song they had ever known since they were little kids until we got back. But that was such a fun memory prior to coming here in 2007. One of the fun things each year at Nationals is you never know who you're going to run into. We have all sorts of famous people through the years that have come to watch their kids. So you see their kids perform, but you don't tie them to who the parents are. And we've had Marco Rubio, who's currently the U.S. Senator here from the state of Florida. He's been here to watch his daughters. He also was 2016 candidate for President of the United States. We've had Chuck Norris. We've had John Maxwell, who I consider the guru on leadership. He came to watch his daughters. He cheered for a Christian team in San Diego, California. And we've had Billy Payne, who brought the Olympics to Atlanta, came to watch his granddaughter. So all sorts of famous people that have not only come to watch their kids or grandkids, but got to hear the gospel presentation. How can we share stories about FCC Nationals without talking about 2020? Oh, I know right now that's a bad memory for a lot of people, including people that even work here at the hotel. Unfortunately, a lot of them lost their jobs because of layoffs and everything else. And we all remember that year, even though we don't want to remember it. But we were the only organization in the entire country that ran a live competition during 2020. And I'm just a firm believer over faith over fear. And I was determined through God's direction and discernment and protection that we were going to give these kids an experience that year. And I'm so thankful we did. We have a special place in our heart, and I know in other competitors' hearts, for those kids who were seniors in high school that year. They did not miss that opportunity their senior year because of this organization and the Rose in Shingle Creek. We were the only event that did not cancel on them in 2020. And Mr. Rosen made a decision to open up for our event. And I'm very appreciative of that. And in fact, during the COVID year, I actually met him up in the front lobby, and we both had tears in our eyes, thanking each other for, he was thanking me for not canceling, and I was thanking him for opening up. But it will forever be a special memory in my heart and in the history of FCC. I've shared some historic things that have happened over the years and some humorous things that have happened over the years, but let me just share a little bit about the most important thing that happened over the years. Sure, moving the FCC Nationals to the Rose in Shingle Creek was huge, but guess what? That wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing that happened in my heart was 2008. My daughter was 5 years old, and she's on a little impact team, and her little coach and her daughter was on the team, First Redeemer Redhawks. And Coach Misty was her coach. And her family were down here at FCC Nationals. And I returned from FCC National to our office in Atlanta. And I wasn't back 2 or 3 days, and Wendy in our office gets a phone call. And Misty's husband, Tommy, was killed in a motorcycle accident. And I went to the viewing before the service, and at the viewing was a huge life-size replica of a picture of Tommy, Misty, and their little daughter at our event. And I realized how important this event is to not only build a memory for each family, but to make sure that every single person that attends our event hears the gospel presentation and has a chance to make a life-changing decision with Jesus Christ. And that one event, we have always shared our faith, but that one event seemed to embolden me as the leader to be more bold and brash and just without fear sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I can honestly say over these years, hundreds of lives have been changed as a result of FCC Nationals, giving these kids an opportunity to perform in an atmosphere that is encouraging and loving, but also a platform to present the gospel of Jesus Christ. That was the most important decision that has been made over these 35 years. To God be the glory.
Hi, my name is Becky Rogers, and this is Brandon Hubble, and we are part of the coaching staff of Life Christian Academy. But about 14 years ago, we came here to FCC Nationals, and we came all the way from Tacoma, Washington, so it was quite a hike for us. But when I brought Brandon didn't yet know the Lord. And I know that FCC's Gala Night is such a power-packed night of the Holy Spirit that he had to be here.
So when we got down here to Florida for FCC Nationals, I had no expectations as far as it related to Jesus. I was here to win a title. But that night at the gala, Carrie decided to give the gospel message. And during that time, I was just convicted of heart, and I raised my hand to the side and I decided to give my life to Jesus. It was the beginning of a long journey that has unfolded and caused healing and brought hope. But at this point in time now, I am on as a full-time coach, and I am also a pastor, and I work for a ministry that does discipleship around the world. So I'm so thankful for FCC and Carrie to be obedient to Jesus and to give the gospel message, because it continues to save people like me, and I am eager to hear about the next person that's going to receive the gospel message when Carrie gives it.
Thank you for being part of this historic year, 35 years. Hundreds of thousands of kids and families have been a part of this event. But this is the largest event that we have ever put on in the history of our organization, the 35th anniversary of FCC Nationals. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this historic year.
Since 2006, when we hosted your first event, we have booked over 60,000 room nights in the month of January, and you just don't know how much that means to our employees and our leadership at the hotel. We are so grateful for the opportunity to have Mr. Coleman believe in us. And the first thing that came to mind when I thought about what does it take to have somebody to believe in you, it takes faith. And the faith he had in him. He is a Christian man and is a man of faith. And this one Bible verse came to my mind, and it says, "Now faith is confidence in what you hope for and assurance about what we do not see." In the 2004, all he saw was dirt. And look at us now, 2023 and beyond. We have a great facility, and without that young gentleman's faith in us and his partnership in us, we would not be where we are today. So Mr. Coleman, on behalf of the entire Rosen family, we want to say we're so grateful and thankful for your opportunity for having us be your host. Have a great time this year, ladies and gentlemen, and we look forward to seeing you again in many more years to come.